wanted to start by asking you about this year because obviously it's been a challenging year for asset managers. We're already part of the way through the year, but what do you think their priorities should be now? Should they be focusing their energy?
Well, I think the key question is to figure out how the virus is going to proceed and how politicians are going to react to it and how voters are going to react to it. And it's not an easy task. None of us are experts. Even the experts really don't claim to be, even close to perfect. It's just an incredibly challenging period. The best that you can do is to try your very, very best. And certainly we have some of the best information in the world, in terms of what's presented to us on a daily basis by the sell side community. Not to mention all the other voices that all of us have access to in the Ethernet out there on YouTube. The important thing really is, like, I suppose in life in general, and but certainly in investing, that you properly filter out the extraneous information and you concentrate on what's important.
And given that there's so much uncertainty still and things that we don't know, do you have a sort of view on the outlook for the rest of this year, outlook for markets?
Well, certainly the markets have taken the stance that things are going to be much better than what we would normally feel watching the media and watching the data flow. The markets were remarkably resilient. Even with the initial fall, they've been remarkably resilient, partially helped by central banks and certainly government actions. But still, when you talk about how markets don't like uncertainty, they certainly have broken that rule because there's plenty of uncertainty and they've rallied dramatically. In sum, it is really quite amazing and I'd say impressive and probably good. It's a good thing that markets are not completely panicking, or else the situation would be much worse than it is.
And do you see any long-term implications for asset managers through this crisis or through COVID? What might those be, and will there be any impact on business models as well?
Perhaps the industry will enter into a more stable equilibrium, whereby fees are sort of stabilized, and that the passive versus active situation also stabilizes. I don't actually see a good reason, given markets' behavior, to argue for more passive exposure.
And when you talked about the themes that you're looking at, some of the new themes, can you talk a little bit about those?
We have certainly identified themes, not only global ones, but in particular in China, where some of them are more long-standing themes, but they've been augmented, especially in recent months, whereby China is concentrating more on domestic demand now, and its fiscal stimulus is oriented towards improving healthcare and improving the social safety net. So the medical care and the insurance sectors are ones that we've been concentrating on more and more heavily, and it's provided great opportunities. Of course, in the broader world, we, like everyone else, is trying to pick the winners of the changes in the technological field, and ones that are not harmed by geopolitical tension. There's certainly a very dangerous road with many potholes out there in terms of investing at all, but in particular when you're investing in China, whereby you have to be savvy about not only technological issues but also political ones.
And for you personally, John, what have been some of the sort of lessons that you've learned or would pass on from this crisis?
Not panicking is certainly, and not despairing is certainly part of what I've learned. There's like any sort of, I guess, biological system or social system, there's a way that things normally reach an equilibrium. There are times in history, obviously, where there's a very sharp break, and French Revolution, Russian Revolution, that sort of thing. I have to watch for that carefully, but at this stage, it seems like there's nothing that dramatic about to happen.